Imagine this, a quiet farm girl, tied helplessly to a tree by a group of merciless bullies. They thought they had broken her spirit, that no one would come to her rescue. But what they didn't know was that one phone call, one message, would summon a man trained to fight in the shadows, a man feared across the world, yet loved by her beyond measure. And when he arrived, everything changed. This isn't just a story about cruelty and revenge. It's about love, courage, and the unshakable bond between two souls. Stay with me, because what happens next will leave you stunned, and maybe even inspired. Lena was known in her small farming town as the quiet girl who never caused trouble. She spent her mornings feeding the chickens, tending to the vegetable patch, and walking the dirt road to school with her head lowered, books pressed tightly against her chest. Life on the farm was simple but lonely. Her father had passed away years ago, and her mother, though loving, worked tirelessly to keep their land alive. Lena's only true comfort came from the letters she exchanged with her husband, Jack, a man she had married young and who had since vanished into the secretive world of military service. She never told anyone about him. People only saw the shy farm girl, not the woman bound to a warrior who lived in shadows. But school was no sanctuary. The bullies there had singled her out from the beginning. They mocked her clothes, her silence, and her country roots. Some days they'd steal her lunch, other days they'd whisper cruel jokes loud enough for her to hear. Lena never fought back. She endured it, praying each night that things would change. What she didn't know was that those same bullies had grown more daring, their cruelty darkening into something far more dangerous. It happened one late afternoon. Lena was walking home through the wooded path when the group cornered her. She tried to step back, but they encircled her like wolves. "You think you're better than us?" one of them sneered. They grabbed her books and tossed them into the mud. When she bent to pick them up, another shoved her hard against a tree. Before she could even scream, her wrists were tied tightly with rope, the coarse fibers cutting into her skin. They laughed as she struggled, tying her tighter and leaving her helpless against the rough bark. Lena's heart pounded in her chest. She wasn't afraid for her life, she was afraid of what might come next. But in that moment of terror, a thought pierced through. Jack. She remembered his promise before he left, "No matter where I am, if you ever need me, call, I will come." With trembling fingers, she reached into her pocket where, by some miracle, her phone hadn't been taken. Shielding it from the bullies' eyes, she tapped a single message to the only number she trusted. Then, with tears brimming, she pressed send. The bullies laughed, unaware that the tide of her life had just shifted. Far across the ocean, in a dimly lit room deep within a military compound, Jack's phone vibrated. He was sitting in silence after a long training session, his body covered in sweat, when he saw the message appear on the cracked screen. One word, one cry for help. That was all he needed. His chest tightened, but his mind sharpened with deadly clarity. Without hesitation, he moved. Within hours, he was on a plane back home, the weight of his oath to Lena burning in every heartbeat. He wasn't just her husband, he was Delta Force, a man trained to go where no one else could, to face threats most would run from. And right now, his mission was personal. Back in the small town, Lena endured the taunts of her captors. They had left her tied, laughing that no one would find her until nightfall. But as the sun began to dip, the sound of crunching gravel broke the silence. The bullies looked up to see a black truck rolling slowly down the path. A man stepped out. His presence was like a shadow cast in daylight, tall, broad-shouldered, with eyes that seemed to cut straight through them. The air grew heavy. Jack had arrived. He didn't shout, he didn't rage. He simply walked toward them, his gaze locked on the girl bound to the tree. "Step away from her," he said, his voice low but commanding. The bullies laughed nervously, not recognizing the danger standing before them. One of them stepped forward, puffing his chest. "Or what?" he challenged. That was their mistake. What followed wasn't a fight, it was a lesson. Jack moved with precision, every strike controlled, every motion deliberate. Within seconds, the bullies were on the ground, groaning in shock and pain. He didn't need weapons, his training was enough. When the last one scrambled away, pale and trembling, Jack finally turned to Lena. His hands, so capable of destruction moments ago, were gentle as they freed her from the ropes. She collapsed into his arms, sobbing with relief. "I came as fast as I could," he whispered, holding her close. "You'll never face this alone again." Word spread quickly after that night. The bullies never touched her again. In fact, they couldn't even look her in the eyes. The quiet farm girl who once walked with her head bowed now carried herself with quiet strength. She knew she wasn't alone anymore. The world might see her as fragile, but in truth, she was bound to a protector who would cross oceans for her. And in that bond, she found courage she never thought she had. The story of Lena and Jack isn't just about revenge. It's about the power of love, the strength that comes from knowing someone believes in you, and the courage to rise above cruelty. And maybe, just maybe, it's a reminder to every bully out there, you never truly know who someone has by their side.